So in this video, we will learn how to make an Android and iOS app for your WordPress blog in less than 1 hour. So this is the quick demo which I would like to show you. This is Android and this is iOS. So this is going to be a two-page application. First page will be the home page where all the different blogs will be present. And these are coming from the real time from your WordPress blog, right? So if you will add a new blog to your WordPress, it will be instantly represented. Like, of course, not instantly updated over here because we are getting the data from an API. So we need to reload. But overall, whenever the user open up the app, it will show the instant or the latest articles available. Now, we can click on these. So if I will click on it, you can see all the content will be available, right? So this is what we are going to create, and let me show you the similar thing on iOS as well. Okay, so let me show you step by step how it's going to work. Video can go a bit long, but I'm since it's going to be step by step, if you watch till the end, you're sure going to understand each and everything. And if you face any problem in the while, make sure to comment it down below, and I'll be more than happy to help you in that. So without any further ado, let's start. So the first step will be to open up your dashboard for your WordPress site or WordPress blog and visit plugins section. You need to install a plugin which is going to provide us the API URL from which we can get all these blogs. So let me just close this. Maybe the internet is too issue, it's taking a bit more time. But overall, what it happens is that particular plugin is going to generate an URL by which we can fetch all the different posts, right? And through that URL, we will be able to get that content in our app. So since this is taking a bit of a time, I'm going to create a new Flutter application. So I'm just going to open up new VS Code window. So there we go. And just a second, sorry for that. There, yeah. So to create a new Flutter project, all you need to do is Flutter new project. I'm going to give it a name of WordPress and native 2, let's say. Okay, it's going to create a new Flutter project. And over here, you can see we have this plugin which is called easily generate REST API URL. You can either search for it by clicking on add new, or I'll provide you the URL either in the link in the blog or maybe in the description. So I will close this, close that, and you can see it's generating. Now this happens with me sometime. If it does not happens with you, good luck, everything is fine. But first I'm going to get rid of comments. Okay, I need to click on this. Yeah, so I will get rid of the comments because we don't need them. And I'm going to maximize the size of this screen. It's getting quite small. Also, we don't need both of these emulators. I think most people will be comfortable with Android, so I'm going to use Android. But again, the code we are going to write will work exactly the same on Android and iOS both, so you don't have to worry about it. Now this my homepage, when you create a new Flutter project, it's a counter application. We don't need that, so I'm going to get rid of that. Inside the lib folder, we will create a new folder called views, which will include both of the views. The first is the home page and the second one is the post page. So I'm just going to create two files. I'm going to say home.dart and post.dart. Inside home.dart, I'll first import material. We need to import material whenever we create a new stateful widget. I'm going to create a stateful widget for our home page because I know there are going to be updates, like when the screen starts loading, we will fetch the data, then we will update the content. So we will require a stateful widget over here. Similarly, for post screen, I'll just import material, and then I'm going to create a stateful widget again. Again, the reason for creating a stateful widget is because there are chances when I may be required to update the user interface. It can be providing the user an option to like, providing the user an option to share, or something like that, which is causing some change. It can be an animation, or it can be a user interface count change or value change. So now, since we don't have my home page, I'm going to just import home, which is a newly generated widget. Home is not accepting any arguments right now. That's why we will not be providing any title or something over here. Now, moving on to the home, I'm just going to quickly grab 2 screenshots of this page, which I already have actually. So I'll just run this application which we are creating over here. So when I will run this application, we will be able to see a black screen because it's a container. So rather than showing you that, let's continue building our application. We will use a scaffold because the scaffold provides us a lot of different widgets, especially for material design, which can help a lot in your time spent when building application. You don't have to build everything from scratch, especially the things like app bar, floating action buttons, and drawers and stuff. So in the app bar, I just want to provide the title. The title is going to say your blog name, and you can give it whatever you want. I'm going to just say flutternerd.com. I think flutternerd will be fine. Now, this is just the user interface, but before user interface, or it's called front end, we need to first make our backend work. We need to get the data from the API. Now, as you can see, I have installed this particular plugin on my WordPress blog. All I need to do is I need to visit the settings, and in the settings, we will have this generate REST API URL. All you need to do is click on that, and from there you will be able to get a URL. I'll click on that URL, and it will open up a page which will be returning all the content from our WordPress blog. Now we will go inside our lib folder and create a new file. We will name this WP API, which means basically WordPress API. In this particular file, we are going to create the functions to fetch the data from our API. Okay, so I'm going to open up the URL. You can see this is the content we are getting. Now, of course, it's not readable at all. You will not be able to understand what it is. So first thing which I will recommend is make sure to install this Chrome extension, which is called JSON View. Once you have it, this is how the content will be visible. Okay, it's much more readable and you can work with it much better. So now our work is we need to get these content. We need to be able to get the title, we need to be able to get the description, and we will be also getting the excerpt, which is the short description in our sense, right? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to write up the functions so that we can fetch the data from our API. So if you are using any kind of API with Flutter, then you need to use HTTP package. So we are going to just visit pub.dev, and in pub.dev we will have to install a package which is called HTTP. I'm going to just hit enter and search for that package. When you will click on that package, you will have an option of installing. I'm going to copy that package, move to pubspec.yaml. This is quite cluttered when you have a lot of comments. I personally don't like that. If you are comfortable or it's okay, you don't have to worry about it. But I usually like to remove all the comments just to make it much more clean and readable. Then I will add the dependency which I want to add, which is HTTP, so that I can fetch the data from the API. Now, moving on to my function to get the data from the API, we will first start by importing HTTP. Okay, then I'll say http.dart, and we will use it as HTTP. Okay, then we will also be required to import Dart convert. This will be required because the content we are getting, it's not actually formatted correctly. So we need to convert that response which we get into a JSON format. Now, I'm creating a function which is going to have a return type of future, which means it's going to take some time, right? Future and list, it's going to return a list. If you don't know how to write a function, that's basically it. We provide the name for the function, we provide a return type, and that's how it works. So the name for the function which I'm going to provide is going to be called WP posts. And this is going to, as we know, this is a future function. There are going to be things which are going to take some time. It's going to be an asynchronous process, right? That's why we are using async here, so that we can use await. Now, I will create a new variable which is called response. This response will be collecting all the content or the data which we get back from the URL or the API URL. Now, I'll say await, and then I'll use http.get. http.get function is the one which is going to get us the content from that URL. Now, we need to provide the URL, so I'll just go over here and copy the URL. I'll copy that and paste it here. Okay, then we need to provide a quick header, so I'll say headers, and in the header I'll just want to mention what I am trying to accept. I am trying to accept over here application/JSON. Okay, then I'll end it with a semicolon. So this is how we are getting the response from our API. So we have the URL, and all the content which you are able to see over here will be available to this response object. Now, of course, this is going to take some time. That's why we are using await over here. Now, second process is this response is not correctly formatted. So we need to first convert this into a JSON format. So I'm going to create a new variable for that, which is going to be just called converted. Let's call it converted data to JSON. Then I'm going to just say JSON decode, which is actually something which Dart convert contains, and I'm going to provide the response over here, response and dot body. Okay, then the next step is going to be just to return this particular JSON which we got, because now what we can do is we can use this function outside in any particular file and we will be able to get the content. Okay, so let's go back to the home and now try to show just the titles in the home screen. I don't like the debug bar, so I'm just going to get rid of that quickly. So I'm just going to say debug show check banner mode, and I will make that false. In the home page, we are going to use a future builder to show this list. If you are not aware a lot about feature builder, don't worry, it's very easy. We just have two things in feature builder. So let me show you how we do that. We go inside the body, we will create a container. Inside the container, we will have a feature builder. Okay, feature builder will have two important things. The first thing is the builder, or actually the future is the first thing. So future consists of the function which we are going to use. So this is the function which we are using. To use a function, we need to first import this file, right? So I'll say import, and then I'll say wp dash API. Okay, so sometimes if it's not showing the suggestion because you mistakenly write something else like me, then you can just go back, remove that, and I'll write it again. So this is how we are going to do that. We need to add the semicolons in the end of it. So now it's fine. Now you can see we are able to use this function. Now once you are providing the future, the return type of this will be used over here. So we will say context and a snapshot. A snapshot is nothing but the data which has been returned by this particular function. Okay. Now over here, first of all, we want to make sure we have some data. So I'll say snapshot dot data or dot has data. Okay, if we have some data, then we will do something else. But if we don't, like for example, if this function does not work, then we just want to show a circular progress indicator. So I'll say circular progress indicator, and I'll just make it save. Once I will do that, I'll move on to my snapshot.has data. And first of all, let's try to make sure why it's not showing anything, why it is black over here. So I'm just going to restart the application just to make sure everything is working fine. We should be able to see an app bar and at least a circular progress indicator. We have a home, and yeah, so if we are not able to see that, we have a problem. Let me just make sure we don't have any errors. Okay, so we can see that we have some error, and it's mentioning that the HTTP in the Dart package, it's not perfectly fine. Okay, so I think we have some problem in here. We are using HTTP package, we have that. Let me just clear this up. Okay, now it's working perfectly fine. It was just a problem of some save and stuff, so we don't have to worry about it. Moving back, so over here what I am trying to do now is, now I'm going to return a list view, because I want to create a list of all the different blocks I have, right? So I'm going to say list view dot builder. Inside the list view dot builder, the first thing which we need to provide is the item count. How can we get the item count? Well, we can use the snapshot. Well, why are we using the snapshot again? Because the snapshot is a JSON response. So over here you can see we got the response, we converted that response into a JSON format. Now since snapshot is in JSON format, we can easily say snapshot.data.length, which will provide us the length of that. Okay, now second thing is item builder. So in the item builder, what we will do is we will have a build context, and we will provide the context in here. Then we will have a index like that. Okay, that's not okay. Now it's working perfectly fine. Let's end this with a semicolon just to get rid of the error. Not sure why this is happening, but let's continue for now. So over here we are inside the item builder. Item builder is nothing but it's going to build individual list items. So over here what I will do, I will create a map. If you don't know what a map is nothing but a key value pairs. And if you have a look at the response which we have, it's also like a list of map, right? This is a list of map. The individual one is a map with a key and a value pairs. So that's why I'm creating a map to get that whole content into a value. So I'll say snapshot dot data, and then I'll provide the index. And this is how we can get this first map into this. So now we have WP post, which consists of only the content of a single blog. Moving on. Now we want to show that. So I'll just say quick return text, and let's start by showing up the title. So how can we get the title? So this is a map, right? Inside a map, how to get a value? Inside a map, if you want to get a value, you need to provide the key. So I want to get, let's say, title. So I'll just provide this key and I will be able to get this value of it. So I can just go in here, I can say WP post, and then I can provide the title, which is the key. If I'll provide the title, you can see we are not getting a particular string response, but rather a map as a response. Now this map in itself have a key which is called rendered, and the value of that rendered is actually the title. So what I will do is this whole WP post and then bracket title in itself becomes a map. How to get a value from a map? We need to provide a key. So what is the key over here? The key is called rendered. So I'm just going to copy that and I'm going to paste that over here. Now once I will do that and I will save that, we are supposed to see something here, and let's just make sure why we are facing this issue. It says item count isn't defined for list view dot builder. Okay, so this may be the problem of my this Visual Studio Code. It does that sometimes, so sorry for that. So all I need to do is I need to just open up that project again, and in the meanwhile, if you are at the same position, good job, you're really doing. Oh, sorry, I was not supposed to create a new project. Let me just open up a new window, open it over here. I'm going to say I want to open up the recent project, and the recent project is this one. Okay, it's going to take a few seconds, so let me just run it. So let me show you in the app what we are going to do now. So we were able to get the title. Similarly, we will be able to get this short description, which you can see in the home page, which is going to be available from here. And this is the whole content which we will be showing in the next page. But one thing is missing over here, which is this image URL. So how image URL is working is that we have this key which is called WP featured media, which is actually inside the map of links. So if we go into that WP post which we have for a single, single blog which we have created, all the map content consists of key which is links, and the value of that links key have this another map which have this key WP featured media, which in itself have this list of map. This is very important to understand. This is a list of map. How do I know? Because this is a rectangular bracket and this is a curly bracket. Curly bracket represents a map, while these rectangular brackets represent a list of map. So inside this key, I will be able to get a list of map. So I need to specify that I want the first map out of it. And then inside of that map, I need to specify that I want the key of href value. Okay, I hope that so far everything is making sense. Let me just run this application so that we can see that. Okay, so again, we got the URL, but this does not seems like a URL for an image because it is not. So what we need to do is we need to open this URL in a new tab. And you can see this is also an API just like what we have over here. And it is going to be returning us the URL for our image. So if I will click on that, you can see. So now the question arises, how can we get this? So we need to create one more function in our wp.api. So I'll create, it's going to be very same, exactly the same actually. But in this function, the URL is not going to be the same. URL is different for each and every blog. So that's why we are going to accept the URL over here. So I can just say href, and I'm going to use that here. Now I'm not going to name this function this. I'm going to say fetch wp post, single post, image, URL. This is what I'm going to name this, and I'm going to save that. Okay, so once that is done, what we need to do is we need to use this function a little bit later. Now, since this is taking a bit of a time, I'm going to give it that time, and I'll be right back once it is done. So it's finally done, and the next step for us is to fetch the other content. So as you can see, we are able to fetch the title. So if you go back over here, you will be able to see that we need to now fetch the description, and then we will be moving on to fetching the image and all as well. So before we do any of that, we need to create a separate widget which is going to represent a single list item. And I'm going to name that stateless widget. So I'm going to say stateless and stateless widget, and I'm going to name that post style. Okay, you can name it whatever you want. Now, as you can see in the image, let me just show you a quick image of the screenshot. There we go. So as you can see, we have these three things. The first is the image, second is the text, third is the text. All of these three widgets are aligned vertically. So how can we do that? We can just move on to the child, and we can say column, and then we can provide a children. I don't really like when we don't get any suggestion. So we have a column, okay, then we have children's in it, children, seamlessly. Okay, then we will have an image dot network. Now make sure we don't have a URL right now, so let's just skip that and just start with title. So I'll say title, and then I'll say text, which is going to be description. Now these two values are going to be accepted over here. So I'm going to say post. First, let's define the variable. So I'm going to say final string title and description. We will also be accepting that URL which I mentioned before, this href one, which we are getting from this featured media, so that we can get the image URL. So I'll accept that URL. I'll just name that href and we have title, we have description. We also want the content over here. So you may be asking, Sanskar, what is the difference between content and the description? So description is actually the short description which we are showing over here. Content, on the other hand, is the whole content once you will click on it, which we will be showing in the next page. So we will send this content once someone will click on this to the next screen so that we can show that over there. Okay, so how can we accept all of these? We will create a constructor for our post style, and I'll just say this dot content, this dot description, this dot href, and this dot title. Now I'll wrap all of this with these curly braces so that I can name things and then provide its value. You will see how in few seconds. Now we have all of that content, so let's move on. Rather than just showing the text over here, I'll use the post style and I'll provide each and every value one by one. So first I need to provide href. So how can I provide href? As I have said before, we are inside this single map inside of a list of a map, right? So WP post consists of a single map. Now in this single map, I want to get the value which is over here. Where it is over here. So how can we get that? So this whole is a map and I want to get the value of links first, because that is where our value is. So I will first go inside underscore links, and inside the links I can see I want to go get the value of featured media, because the link itself is having a value of map. So inside this map, I want to get the value of featured media. So all of this WP post links becomes a single map. So if I want to get a value from a map, what do? I provide the key. So what is the key over here? Here the key is WP featured media. So I'm just going to copy that and paste it over here. Now WP featured media, on the other hand, is returning not just a map but a list of map. How do I know that? Because we have a rectangular brackets. So how can I get the first from it? So I can just specify I want the first one from the list. This is a list, make sure in that, right? So now we have map, which is the first map. From this first map, we want to get the value of href. So again, all of this becomes a single map because all of this is returning a map. So from a map, if I want to get a value, what do I need to do? I need to provide the key. The key over here is href. So I'll just provide the key and we have it there. So that was the first value which we have. The second value is going to be title. So I'll just go over here and I'll say title, and then in the title I'm just going to do the similar stuff but according to title. So for title, I can see we are inside the map and we want to get the value of title, which is a key, and that will return a map which have a key of rendered. So I need that. So what I need to do is I need to make this title and I need to make this rendered. I hope everything is making sense so far. And yeah, now let's move on and provide the description. So where is the description? I don't want this content. Okay, description is this excerpt, which is a short description kind of. So I need the same thing, excerpt, and then go excerpt will give me a map. From that map I can get the key rendered and I can get its value. So I need to say excerpt, copy that, paste it here, the first one, because we are inside WP post and that's what we are getting. And then I'll copy the rendered, and there we go. Oh, I think I made this. This is going to be title and we will provide description here. Now the next thing is the content. So I'll just say content and I'll paste exactly the same, but in this case we will have content first and then render. So once I will do that, and if I will open up the app again, I should be able to see the text and the text. So we can see the method, this was called on null. So somewhere we are calling something on null. So where this can be happening? Well, as far as I can see, I can only think of this to be a problem, which is href. Other than that, I don't think we have any problems. Do we? Okay, let me just make sure of that. So the method itna was called. So let me just restart this application and just make sure everything is working fine. If not, then we will make sure to fix that error. So it was called on null. So we are only calling these over here. So there is a chance that it's specifying that any of these is returning a value of null. Correct. So it's saying the 0 is the problem. So if I go to feature media back again, let's just make sure. So we have underscore links. So have I specified that correctly? Underscore links. Yes, I did. And if I go inside this WP featured media, have I specified that correctly? Yes, I did. You can see that semicolon were extra over here. That's why this was saying that, we don't have any value like that. How can you get the first of something we don't have? I hope That makes sense. So now we have the title, we have the description. Now the next step for us is to show the image. How can we get the image, by the way? Well, it's quite easy. All you need to do is you need to just go in here. First, we will convert this stateless widget to a stateful widget. Now, you may be asking, Sanskar, why are we converting that? Because now we are having an image which we have to run a function to get. So image will not be available, or the image URL will not be available instantly. We need to wait for it to be available, right? And that wait is going to take some time, after which we are going to update the user interface. So for that exact reason, we are going to use a stateful widget. I hope everything is making sense so far. So we are going to use the same future builder over here. So I'll say future builder will take future. Okay, future is nothing but just a function. There we go. We will provide that. And then we need the builder. Now, this function is not just a simple function. It is accepting something. And what is that? It's a href. And over here, we will have the context and we will have the snapshot. Snapshot is nothing but what this function is returning. So inside this builder, first thing first, we will check if a snapshot dot has data. Okay, we want to make sure if we have data, because if we don't, in that case, I'll just return circular progress indicator. Now let's move on. What if we have data? If we have data, we will say return image.network, and then we will provide the map. So this snapshot is going to be JSON again, right? All of this JSON. Now this JSON is a single map, not a list of map. Again, how do I know? Because there is a rectangle brackets here, so I know this was a list of maps, while in this case, this is just a single map. Okay, so we are inside a single map. So how can we get the value of this GUID? Well, if you are inside a map, what will you do? You will say snapshot dot data, provide the key, and then provide another key, because this GUID is also returning us a map. So I'll say rendered that. If I'll save that, okay, I think we have an error here. So I need to add a comma over there, I think. Let's just reload this again, just to make sure everything is working perfectly fine. We are supposed to see an image over here. Let's see if that works. Okay, doesn't seems to be running. So we have added the image, we are returning the image, but for some reason nothing is visible. Neither is that circular progress indicator, neither this. So the reason for that can be this. We are not supposed to, are we? Where is the column? There is the column. There is the feature builder. I think everything is fine, but I'm not sure what's wrong. Seems like something has gone wrong. So I'm just going to close all the application and I'm going to restart the application again. And once it's running, I'll be right back. Okay, so now as we can see, the application is running perfectly fine, but we have a problem. The problem is we are not able to get the image URL. So the thing is, if you go back over here in the WP API, one thing which you can notice is we are returning a list. But if you go back in the API and see the content of it, this first API is actually returning a list, but the second one is not. That's why this is going to not work perfectly. So I'm just going to return this, remove that particular list, because this is not going to return me the list. So I'm just going to save that. And then if I go back in my function where I'm showing the image network URL, let me just do that. And now you can see the images are loading. So that is the first page, which is the home screen. Let me just quickly fix some UI updates. And once that is done, we will be moving on to work on our second screen, which is going to be the post view. So over here, what we can do, first thing first, we can see this messenger is going in the center. I don't like that. I just want everything to be in the center, or sorry, starting from the left as English works. So I'll just say cross axis alignment, and I'll say cross axis alignment dot start. Okay, once I'll do that, let me just yeah. Okay, so we have that done. And over here in the container, we will provide a little bit of a padding. So just we will say edge insets dot symmetrical, because we want to provide the same padding from horizontal and vertical, like same padding from top, left and right, top and bottom, like something like that. So I'll save it to something like this. Looks good. Okay, over here what I will do is I'll just provide a little bit of a sized box. This is what we do if we want to provide a, I need to make it small, sized box, and I'll give it a height of 8. Okay, and I'll copy that, and over here I'll provide it a little bit of a smaller, so like around 5 will be fine. So you can see allow a little bit of a space in the title. I think the title should be a little bit of large size, so I'm just going to say provide it a text style of font size, I don't know, around 18 should work. Looks good to me, I think. Yeah. The second thing is we have this hash 038 added. I realize that this is something which kind of a problem happens, so I'm just going to remove that from title itself. So I'm just going to say replace all, and I'm going to provide hash, I think, Firebase and Flutter. Yeah, so 038, this has been added automatically, we don't need that, so I'm just going to remove that. Okay, we need to provide with what we are replacing it otherwise it will not work. So now you can see that's not removed. Okay, I don't get it. What's the problem? Okay, that was supposed to be this. Maybe we don't need the and. Yeah, so as you can see, this is working fine. Now this paragraph, this is actually a paragraph, not a direct text which we can show. So for this, what we will do now is we need a package which is going to help us to show an HTML content in our Flutter. So that package is called Flutter. Let me go over here in the pub.dev, and we will search for Flutter HTML view. And once you will search for that, this is the first one which I'm going for. You can use another one if you like, but this is working for me, so who cares, right? So we'll just go in the pubspec.yaml and we will add this over here. And once I will save that, it will run that pub.get so that we can get packages.get so that we can get that package. And I'm going to close this now. Okay, so how this works is very simple. If you go to the readme file of it, it will show you. But just to give you a quick demo of what or how it works, the first thing is like make sure to add this permission. So I just copied this permission to my clipboard for the internet access. I'm just going to go to app and source, and which one it says, just a second, ensure that Android file located in, okay, they didn't mention that, but anyhow, you just have to go inside the main Android manifest file and just add this permission. You can do that, do this for iOS. So let me just quickly do that because I have that available. So if you are someone with that, so why not? So if we will go to runner, we will go to info.plist, we can just add this over after string, I can remember, right? Okay, this will allow the videos and stuff, so you are not required to do this, but if you will do this, it will help in running the videos and stuff. Okay, so what is the next step we need? Well, if I go to the generated plugin, we can see there are some problems. Not sure why, but I don't think that's going to be a problem. Okay, so enough of that. We are getting a bit confused with that. Okay, so first thing first, let's do this. Okay, we will come back to this back. First, let's go to the post page. So if I will click on this, I want to do something when we click on it. So how do we do that? We provide a gesture detector. So we will say gesture, we will say detector. And over here, I'll provide a on tap functionality. In the on tap functionality, I'll say navigator. This is how we go to the next screen, right? Navigator dot push. Now the reason for why I'm using push is because I want to take that screen and put it above this screen, not like replacing and stuff. Because if I will put that screen above the home screen, then if the user wants to click on the back, he will be able to get back to the home screen. So I'll say material page route, and over there I'll provide a builder, and then I'll say context, where is the end, context. And once we have the context, we just have to specify where do we want to go. So we want to go to the post page, so I'll just say post page. Have I named it that? I just named it post, so I'm just going to say post. And once you will do that, you can just import that, end it with a semicolon, and there you go. Now, as I said before, in the next screen, we are going to show the title, we are going to show the description. So we need to send that content through here. So I'll go inside the post and accept all of those values. So what are the different values which we need? So let me just define them. Final string. First, we need the image URL because we will be showing the image. Then we need the title, and we need the description. We don't need the short description, but rather we need the content. So if you want to call it description, you can. Let's Let's just call it description. If you want, you can call it content as well. Now I need to accept that by this constructor. So I'll say image URL, and then I'll say this dot description, and then I'll say this dot title. Okay, so once that is done, now we are ready to accept the values. So let me go back to the home and provide all these values. So the first one is image URL. How can we get the image URL? Well, we don't have the image URL available outside the future builder. So what we can do is we can go outside this and we can create a variable called image URL. This is going to be initially blank. So I'm going to use that variable, and what I will do is once we get the data from the snapshot, we can just update that with this value. So I can just copy the value, paste that with the and save that. Now I can use this image URL and I can provide it here. Okay, I hope this makes perfect sense. Now we need to provide the title and the description. So how can we provide the title? Well, title providing is very simple. You just have to use that. And for description, it's going to be simple as well. Widget dot is it called description or is it called content? Just a second. Over here it's called content, right? So I'm just going to accept the content. Now we have this, and if I go back to the post, we need to add something. It's just a container. So I'll just say scaffold will be fine. And in this scaffold, we will have an app bar. In the app bar, I would like to show a title, and the title will be nothing but this title. Okay, so I'll just copy that title and I'll show that here. For some reason, it's not going to work. The reason is widget.title is going to work because we are inside a stateful widget. So now let's give this a try. If I will click on this first one, you can see we are in this screen and we have the title. Okay, so let's move on and let's create the body. So in the body, we will have a container first. Okay, and then what do we need? Well, once we have the container, what do we want to do now is we want to, what do we need? We need something like this. Let me just show you the screenshot. Just a second. This is what we need. Okay, it's not that. This is what we need, right? So we need to have something like this. We need to have the image, then we will have the title, and then we will have the whole content. So let's go ahead and do that. So inside the container, we can see we need these one above the other, right? So we will say child, and we will use a column for this. And inside the column, we will have children. The first one is the image dot network. Whenever we are using a URL, image URL to show the image, we use image dot network. So we will say image.network. Again, the same problem. We need to make sure we say widget.that. Then we will say text. Now I need to show the title. So I need to say widget.title. So what the hell happened? I'll just say widget.title and I'll just save that. Once we have the image and the title, the next step is to show the content. Now the content, as I said before, is a HTML content. We are going to not directly show that. So I'll make a separate widget for it. Over here, I'll say widget. Okay, it will start by that widget. And this is the return type. Okay, so this is a function, but it's going to return a widget. So I'll say post content, and this will accept a HTML content. Okay, the HTML string, you can say, and return a HTML view. Now this HTML element view is we get this HTML view from nothing but this. Where is that? This Flutter HTML view. Okay, we get that from there. So I'll say HTML view. Where is that? Where is that? Where is that? There we go. And we need to import that. Okay, it's not showing an option. What happened? So I'll say data. Okay, let's first import HTML view. Okay, so I'll just say import HTML view. I don't think it's imported perfectly. Let me go to perfspec.yaml. We have HTML view. Okay. Some reason it's looking fine to me, but doesn't seems to be working like that. Let's just make sure the exit code is 0 so that we can make sure it's imported. If it is imported, let's use that. Let's go to the installing. Use this. And save that. Okay, so now it should work fine. So now what I will do is I'll say HTML content. That is the data, and we can also provide the on launch fail. So we can provide it accepts a URL. So we can say URL. Okay, this is an optional function. We can just print it for now. Print launch dash URL failed. So this is when a URL is there, it's trying to launch, but it's not able to. In that case, this will be called. So I'll just say false and end this with a semicolon, and now I will show this post content just after the title. So I'll just say post content here. Post content seems to have a problem. Yeah, we need to provide the HTML content to it. How do we do that? We just say widget dot description, and I'll just save that. And if I'll reload this, or just save that, maybe reload this, we have installed a new package, so let's just give it a try of reload. Dude, please work faster. I'm sorry for this, and I don't know why, but system seems to be not very happy with a lot of things running side by side. Okay, just give it a second. So we should be able to fetch the images. We should be able to do that. Let me just wait for it. We can make this in center, right? It will look much better in the center. So what you can do is you can just go in the circular progress indicator and wrap it with a center. So whenever it will load, it will be in the center, not in like corner or something. So I did that. If I will click on any of the listing now or the post, I'll click on it. Dude, it's working. Yeah, so we are on this screen. So first thing first, you are facing this bottom overflowed problem. How can we fix that? You just need to go in here and wrap your container with a widget which is called single child scroll view. Did you get that? And once you will do that, you have it working. Now I want a little bit of a padding. This looks too much kind of so I'm going to provide it a little bit of a padding. So how can we provide the padding? We can just go in here, we can say padding edge insets dot symmetric, and I'll just say horizontal around, I don't know, 16 maybe, and vertical around 16. And if I'll save that, you will be able to see some padding. I will also need a little bit of a sized box because a little bit of space between these will make it look much better. I'll use this over here, and between title and description it should be much less than that, so I'm just going to do it that. I think the messenger, again, the title is in the center. I don't want that. I want it to be from start, so I'll say cross axis alignment dot start. Now I can again provide the styling to the title. I can say title text style. Where is that? Text style, and I can provide the font size to be the same, around 18, and I can save that. But we are facing a problem. Let me just make sure to fix that. Okay, so it's working perfectly fine. We have the content. What do we want more? Let me just quickly fix this as well, because I'm right. We will use the same. Okay, we will use the HTML view. So I'll just go in the home, paste it there, and I'll create a widget inside where over here. Okay, I'll just say widget, and I'll call this widget, and I'll call it short description view. Okay, and over there what we will do is, what am I doing? Okay, I'm just going to return what do we have? We have the HTML view, and HTML view accepts data, and the data is going to be nothing but this content. Where is the content? This description. We are going to say widget dot description. And what do we need next? We need the on launch fail. So I'm just going to close that. I'm going to copy all of this. Okay, something like that, and then I'll just use this short description view and over here. If I'll save that, you can see it's much more better. Correct those. If you want to improve it by anyhow, you can do that. For example, one thing which I can notice, I don't want this long to be right. In that case, I can have a condition that I want it to be substring. For example, I think we can add a little bit of a space between one another, like maybe a little bit from the top. So for that exact reason, I can just add a margin. For example, I can just say edge insets dot only, we can go for only, and we can say top, and I can say around 8 maybe. Right, this can help. So this is just the UI part. You can improve as much as you want, but overall I hope you are able to make one for yourself. You can use the API URLs of my blog if you don't have one, or if you want to learn more about API stuff, I have made a wallpaper app and a recipe app with Flutter. So the link will be in the description or in the I at the top. So make sure to check them out, and I'll see you in the next video.